Los Angeles friendos, join Going In Raw as we go live on stage with Wrestling with Regrets Brian Zane September 24th at the Nerdist Showroom in LA. The link to tickets is in the description.
This is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw. That sounds terrible.
What's up? This is the most must-see WWE superstar of all time and his lovely, gorgeous wife,
Marie.
and you are going in Raw.
What's up? It's your girl, Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you are watching Going In Raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. And you are tuned in to Going In Raw right now. How you doing?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Yeah, welcome to Going In Raw View, the place here on youtube.com/Stephen Larson, where we review old things, old videos. And in this episode, we've got a particularly old person in the show, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Who was on an episode of Raw, January 16th, 2006, when he took on Edge in a TLC match.
Ric Flair's first ever TLC match.
That's right, and he bled a lot. Of course, I gotta get this. Of course, this is in honor of the book that Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair have coming out soon, Second Nature. And we're giving away a copy of this book.
2 copies, in fact.
2 copies. And all you guys got to do is hit us up on the Twitter @RealGoingInRaw with a piece of artwork showing off your favorite Ric Flair and or Charlotte Flair moments.
Yes.
Yeah. It's signed. And apparently I saw a tweet from Charlotte earlier today, I believe, where she said the signed copies of this are running out. These are hot items right here.
We have 2 of them to give away to our viewers, our friendos out there.
Good book, too. I haven't finished or anything. I
Yeah.
don't really finish books.
When you're done with it, I would like to read it, please.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
As you said, art contest. Could be a drawing, a painting, a poem,
video,
original song,
fan fiction,
performance art.
Yeah, something. Yeah, come to our house and perform a live rendition of a Ric Flair thing. I don't know. Don't do that. And so that's very exciting. We've already gotten a couple pieces of artwork in. Very exciting. And then next week, at the end of this show, we'll let you know what we're going to review next week.
Yes.
We put this week's episode of Raw, or this week's decision, up to our $10 and up patrons. Stephen Larson. I'm sorry, patreon.com/Stephen Larson. And they voted on him. We offered this one up. We offered the Chi-Town Rumble from '89.
Yes.
And then we also offered up
his last match.
Oh, yeah, his final
retirement
match.
match.
Yeah, his retirement match with HBK at WrestleMania 24.
Yeah.
And they voted on this one. It was an episode of Raw from 2006 with a hell of a match to finish things off. But it's always fun to go back and look at a random Raw from back in the day and see where the company was
Yes.
at the time.
So this episode of Raw was about 2 weeks after Edge cashed in the very first Money in the Bank contract on John Cena following Elimination Chamber match at New Year's Revolution.
Right.
This was the week after Edge and Lita's famous or infamous, depending on one's perspective, live sex show.
Hot live sex show. Of course, that live sex show.
That was interrupted by
Ric Flair.
Yes.
Exactly. Ric Flair was the Intercontinental Champion at this time.
Correct.
That was really cool. And they made a big deal about him potentially winning his 17th World Championship.
in North Carolina, Flair country.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
who was sitting ringside for the show?
A young lady named Ashley Flair. And, of course, that's Charlotte. And they made a big, I mean, they featured her pretty prominently. Hey, Ric Flair's kids are right here. And they even gave her a little lower third. Baby-faced Ashley, probably a teenager at the time, I'd imagine. Rooting on for her dad. It was very cute. It was very adorable. And it makes you wonder. I wonder if you ever thought, seeing the old man up there just head covered in blood by the end of this match, climbing up a ladder, she ever thought, something I want to do down the line? I don't know. Something to ask her if we ever get the chance.
Yes.
But anyways, the show kicked off with an Edge promo. Him and Lita came down. They looked like $1 million. Edge was a fantastic heel. And the thing about Edge as a heel, I think he would have been huge even today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, this is only 11 years ago. But he was so damn entertaining.
He was.
It would have been really difficult, I think, for him to maintain a heel status.
Oh, yeah. I think it probably was back then. I think
he was heel for a little while.
Oh, I know, but I feel like people were appreciating his work.
Yeah,
as a heel.
He had all that stank on him from the Lita Matt Hardy thing. People were really upset about that. When they know that for reals, like that kind of stuff, there's like, that went down. They're not going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
So that got him a lot of heel heat, but he was so damn entertaining. Lita looked like $1 million, and he was out there to continue. He said, a lot of people were offended that Lita was stripping down to her bare essentials.
Bare essentials.
That's what he said. That was great.
But he wanted to continue their live sex celebration. So
he said, I want Lita to finish me off. So gross.
So he asked for a chair.
Like, half the time I feel like Edge was just trying not to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. So he asked for a chair. Joey Styles, you can hear him under his breath say, why does he get a chair, Jerry?
And he says, King, what's the chair for?
Yeah, King, what's the chair for?
So he sits in it. Lita starts to give him a lap dance.
All of a sudden, they queued up some Red Shoe Diaries.
Red Shoe Diaries music, yes.
Music.
Like Zalman King was producing the segment.
Zalman King. That is so obscure. That is so obscure. Red Shoes Diary. Remember who was in Red Shoe Diary?
David Duchovny.
David Duchovny. That's
he was in the original movie.
Although I guess
and then he was like the narrator of the series.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
He was still doing that while he was doing X-Files, wasn't he? For a while, there's a little crossover.
There might have been some I think there might have been some crossover there, but then he became like a huge star with the X-Files, and he had to stop doing that. And then he started doing Californication after that, so it made perfect sense. And then I think didn't he like
he had a real sex addiction? I believe.
Well, that's what Tia Leone said. His ex-wife said that. So, man loves having sex. What do you want?
So, anyways, during this part 2 of their live sex celebration, Kurt Angle comes out, the new World Heavyweight Champion, Kurt Angle, who had just won that belt, I guess, in the previous SmackDown during a Battle Royal.
And the only person who got stripped down in their bare essentials was Edge took his shirt off. Lita took Edge's shirt off. Nobody got down to their bare essentials.
That's what you really wanted to see.
Pretty much.
So Kurt Angle comes out and he challenges Edge to a title unification match.
Yeah, because
WWE title versus World Heavyweight Championship.
Kurt Angle had just won on SmackDown.
Yeah, I already mentioned that.
Oh, you did. Mm-hmm. Do we know why? Like, how was that belt vacated? What was the story?
I think because Batista got hurt. They said.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it was.
All right.
So, anyways, Edge says that's a great idea, but no. And then Edge gets a German suplex from Kurt Angle. Out comes Vince.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, there will be no unification match tonight.
Yeah.
Because Kurt Angle is already scheduled to take on Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
He said there will be a stipulation in that match. If HBK loses, his contract will be terminated.
Yeah, Vince had some hard on against HBK.
I know, because this WrestleMania that was coming up, there'd be their street fight.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know what the genesis of that was, though.
I don't either.
I was McMahon upset with was the street fight the God versus the devil match or whatever it was. Remember when HBK was like, I've got God on my side, and then
no. It was supposed to be a tag match.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? It was supposed to be a tag match where HBK had God in his corner.
HBK came down for the Undertaker match as like heaven guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Vince was going to tag team against God or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And HBK.
I'm going to fight God.
Yeah. Anyway, so that match happened first. The fourth match, from my understanding, between Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. Of course, they had a really great WrestleMania match.
And again, like, this was kind of crazy. Like, Raw opened, like, A, with, almost a sex show, but B,
two Hall of Famers.
Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels in a terrific match.
Two of the best ever.
I mean, it had a wonky finish.
Yeah, that was
apparently
weird.
Davari was Kurt Angle's manager at the time.
Yeah.
Something tells me Kurt Angle was heel right before this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
he won the belt, went to Raw and challenged heel Edge, and so they needed to justify or solidify the face turn. Mm-hmm. And so they had this weird finish to what it was otherwise a really good match.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic match. They gave it lots of room to breathe. It was a really long match. And the finish saw Angle get HBK into the ankle lock. Mm-hmm. And as he did that, Davari grabbed a chair and was dicking around with the ref. And Shawn Michaels started tapping out, but the ref didn't see it because Davari was dicking around with the ref.
Yeah, the ref was trying to pull the chair away from Davari. Kurt realized what's going on, goes to Davari, and is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just then the ref pulls the chair, hits Kurt. Shawn rolls him up, gets the win.
Mm-hmm.
Angle and Davari are arguing, and then Davari slaps Angle in the face.
Yeah.
Angle doesn't like this.
No.
And he proceeds to beat him up a little bit, and then Angle slammed him out of the ring over the top rope.
He looked like he just dumped him like a pilot, like a bag of trash, and he had no interest in what happened to that bag of trash because he dumped it and then just sauntered.
Yeah, didn't even look back.
Yeah, didn't even look back. These days, any wrestler would be like, oh God, what did I do? Oh, ref, come over here. No, not this.
I know the ref would run out of the ring.
Not face Kurt Angle.
I mean, kayfabe. Ric Flair wrestled the main event with a concussion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Eesh.
Next, Maria Kanellis.
A decidedly less commanding Maria Kanellis that we see today.
Very much so.
Like back, what was it, 11 years ago? She was very much the doe-eyed.
It's like the timbre of her voice was completely different.
Yeah, I know. These days, she's like all like woman in charge and stuff. She's world traveled now.
Yes,
she went on her excursion.
Yes,
after this,
she's interviewing Chris Masters,
the masterpiece. No, yeah, the masterpiece.
Yeah, the master of the master lock.
See, now it's weird when you say Chris Masters. I know him from my
Chris Adonis.
My GFW reviews as Chris Adonis. He looked the exact. I'll give him this though. He looks pretty much the exact same these days.
He still talks with a voice that sounds like he's talking in slow motion.
Is he as bulky now as he was then?
No. Besides that. Besides that.
Nowadays, he was massive.
Nowadays, he's like, he's got kind of a weird bulky body. He's bulky in areas, but back then, dude, his what are they, traps?
Traps, yeah.
Crazy.
When I was watching it and he was doing his promo, I was looking at his pecs, his chest muscles, and I was like, they cover up the top of his biceps.
Yeah,
they're so large.
I know. They're crazy. Yeah, no, that was his thing. And that was the thing. And I think it was like during his run, I seem to remember, I could be wrong about this. I just seem to remember it was kind of during his run that, I don't know if it was when they instituted the wellness policy or he failed a test of some sort that they already had. I don't know. And then he went away and he came back like sort of deflated because I think he might have had to get off something. And I don't know if that's the case. Maybe he wanted to turn around his diet. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I haven't researched it. I don't know if he's ever commented on it.
The wellness policy was initiated February 2006, so about 5 months prior to the show.
February of 2006?
Yeah.
This was
July. Right after. Sorry.
So yeah, it was. It was like, and I kind of remember like he was one of the first people I think popped for the wellness, but look it up real quick. See if that's the case. Because I seem to remember him leaving and then coming back and him being like deflated physically. And it was just kind of oddball. And at that point, I think they stopped doing like the
Master Lock
the
Challenge
thing. Yeah.
Here, I'm trying to skim through here real quick.
And yeah, because he was talking about in this thing, he said he wanted to be the youngest Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah. Well, on November 2nd, 2007, he had a second violation of the wellness policy. That's 2007. That's more than a year later.
Okay. That was the second one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the first one.
So he had a first one at some point.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
He returned August 28th. I guess that would have to be...
Oh, and it said there, along with less muscle mass.
Yeah, leaner and meaner. Yeah.
He grew a goatee. So evidently they popped him for a wellness violation. And I'm just speculating that maybe like, dude, this thing, the stuff that you're on, you can't use that anymore.
Yeah.
So that would cause him to alter.
Oh, here we go. Here it is. Masters pursued Intercontinental Champion had to leave for several months to go to drug rehab due to an addiction to painkillers.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. Well, maybe. I mean, I have no idea. I don't know. Anyways, he came back much different. And now he looks healthier now.
Yeah.
That's good. It's not really healthy when you look that jacked.
Yeah. There's such a thing as too muscular.
I mean, the guys that look like that, it's like, okay, fast forward 20 years and your heart explodes. You know? I mean, I remember, I think it was a ride-along with the New Day when Big E was talking about him wanting to not always be 300 pounds. He's like, dude, my heart's going to explode one day.
Yeah.
You know? It's just when you're that bulky.
I know.
It's just not good for your body. But anyways, I'll say this. I mean, it's kind of obvious that Chris Masters is probably kind of the guy that Vince McMahon saw and started getting an erection. You know, it's, oh, yeah, look at those muscles. Yeah. You're going to be a huge star. That being said, he wasn't all just muscle. Like, he was decent on the mic. He could talk on the mic.
Yeah, he was okay.
He had the arrogant thing down pretty good. It's just, I think when his initial presentation was, look at me, I'm so big, and then you deflate, that sort of kills what your gimmick was a little bit.
Yeah. His packaging, though, was fantastic.
It really was when he came out and did the posing and stuff.
Yeah, in the robe or cape, whatever it was.
The cape thing. Yeah, I always
the
liked
music
that.
was good.
Anyways, he was at the time he was doing his Master Lock Challenge.
Yes.
But he was also involved in some stuff with Carlito.
They were going back to I guess it was Elimination Chamber was the previous. Oh, it was at
the New Year's Revolution.
Yeah. And so Chris Masters and Carlito were teaming up against Cena during that match.
Yeah.
Carlito swerved Masters while Masters had Cena in the Master Lock.
Yeah.
And that's the genesis of their beef.
Right. It's funny though too how so Kurt Angle even during his promo with Edge referred to John Cena already at this point as like John Cena's virtually unstoppable.
Yeah.
Even back then, 2006. Yeah. Still John Cena was that was the standard of, can you beat John Cena?
Yeah.
And so that set up the biggest Master Lock challenge.
Which after a backstage segment between Trish Stratus and Ashley, which featured Mickie James.
A young Mickie James. That's right. She was doing her crazy fan of Trish Stratus thing. That was sort of putting Ashley, that was sort of off-putting to Ashley. Lots of cleavage back then. There were still, Ashley virtually came out in lingerie.
Yeah.
Like schoolgirl lingerie,
She was one of the winners of the Divas search, right?
Yeah. John Cena then came out for the Master Lock Challenge.
And again, a chair made an appearance.
This time it was not for anybody to strip down to their bare essentials.
No, it was for John Cena to sit in while Chris Masters applied the Master Lock.
Yeah. It reminded me when, the Master Lock channel, Chris.
It's a full Nelson.
He puts on the full Nelson, and then the guy's supposed to get out of it. He's supposed to break, the Master
grip.
Lock.
Yeah.
And so he's
before they pass out.
He's sort of ragdolling him a little bit, and it's just you can see Cena moving himself with it to try to emphasize it. It reminded me of on Star Trek when the ship would be there'd be turbulence or whatever, and everybody would just start moving around.
I know.
It reminded me of that.
They would just move the camera a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the whole time Cena's just trying to lower his arms. So if he can lower his arms, he can break Chris Masters' grip and thus break the Master Lock challenge or the Master Lock.
He could win the Master Lock challenge.
He could be the first.
Then Edge comes out with his title and starts taunting Cena while he's in the Master Lock challenge, and eventually Edge just gets fed up because it seems like that's just giving.
Wait, what'd you say?
Edge?
No, Edge just came right in and hit him with the belt right as Cena was about to break free.
Well, no, there was a build up to it though. Edge comes out and he starts taunting Cena.
Oh, with the belt.
And
Sorry,
Cena's getting pissed off.
Yeah, sorry.
And he's it seems like he's getting so mad that he's about to break the Master Lock.
And then Edge hits him with the belt. Yeah.
Before that happens, Edge hits him with the belt, and Cena's busted open in a really weird cut. Because by the end of it, the blood had come down here and it pooled under his eyes, so it gave this really, really disturbing. He looked like he was bleeding out of his eyes. It was the blood pattern was really weird.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was creepy. But no, we didn't.
Oh, sorry.
So we did. Did we get a Cena promo of any sort?
No.
Yeah, he just came. It was weird, silent Cena doing silent movie gestures.
Yeah.
So
next, HBK in the trainer's room. Vince walks up to him and tries to talk some trash.
Taunts him a little bit.
Yeah.
It was so weird because to juxtapose this with 2002 when Michaels came back and he was part of the NWO and Vince was saying, "Oh, you're not going to fight Shawn Michaels. He's an icon."
I know.
And at this point, HBK
4 years later, it's he just can't wait to get rid of HBK.
I know. I'm he is an icon. He's
he's the showstopper. He's the main eventer.
He's Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah. And WrestleMania is right around the corner.
So HBK leaves, and then Vince goes up to Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And starts talking to him, I guess kind of hyping him up or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
The whole time Flair didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
Michaels didn't say a word when Vince was talking to him. Again, one of those weird writing things where you need to let the other person say something.
I know.
To make it feel like an actual human
Especially
interaction.
With Flair, one of the greatest promo people in the history of the business.
It's just odd to have him not talk. It was odd for Cena to come out and just go.
I know.
Cena never doesn't have a mic these days.
I know.
He always has a mic with him. Anyways, enter Candice Michelle. Why anybody ever thought Candice Michelle was a good idea for anything beyond the GoDaddy stuff is beyond me.
And it seemed to bring out just complete, total, all the time, lecherous Vince.
Yeah, it was.
And it's so off-putting.
So off-putting. And like she was, I don't even remember like what the gist of this was.
Well, like she came in, they talked, and then they made arrangements to meet up later or something.
Yeah, something like that. She wanted him to,
she did a little spin at Vince's behest.
Even back then, I remember thinking, this isn't sexy. She really comes off like somebody who's just really slow. You know what I mean? Like that's what she came off as. I never understood why they brought her in. Like, I'm sorry. She wasn't particularly attractive, and she just came off as super slow.
And she was really awful in the ring.
And she was terrible. She was terrible in the ring. She was a complete black hole of charisma, and she looked haggard. Like she had deep like lines under her eyes. Look, and I'll talk this kind of crap about guys too. This isn't like look at her. She's crap. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
There was really nothing that appealing about her. I mean, they just showed off her cleavage a lot, which I guess is great. But like, and then Vince just like, doing the the O face the entire time.
Yeah. Wasn't she the one that Vince wanted to make out with?
Yeah. That was some sort of story from one of the writers. He was like, Vince really wanted different scenarios where he can make out with her on camera. Vince, just keep that stuff off camera.
Mm-hmm.
You can, I guess, if that's what
it's so off-putting.
That's what you really want.
It just really is.
I don't know.
So, anyways, that led to a 6-woman tag match. We saw Trish Stratus, then the Divas title.
No, women's title. Women's title. Yeah, it was the old school women's title.
Okay, that's right, because the Divas champion was on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right about that.
At a certain point, each show had their own.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
So it was Trish, it was Ashley and Mickie James against Victoria, Candice Michelle, and Tori Wilson.
And here's the thing about the Candice Michelle thing. Tori Wilson, beautiful, tons of charisma.
Yeah.
Tons of charisma. And could really work in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She came
Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus classic.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Tori Wilson came out to this match carrying a dog.
Yeah.
She brought a dog
awesome.
to ringside.
Victoria,
good
hell
wrestler.
of a wrestler.
Yeah.
Hell of a wrestler, right? Tons of charisma.
We know Mickie James.
Mickie James.
Great wrestler.
Hell of a wrestler. Tons of charisma. Now, I'm kind of glad they didn't use, I mean, I'm sure they did because Vince was lecherous with everybody. But I guess I'm okay with Candice Michelle being the one out of those actual talents to be the one that's subjected to Vince's lecherism, if you want to call it that. I don't think that's a real word.
I don't think it is either.
But there was so much actual talent, and then he's doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the storylines in general were just crap.
Oh, they were terrible.
So Ashley was accidentally knocked off the ring apron by Mickie. I think...
no, Mickie was accidentally knocked off by Ashley.
Sorry, yeah.
And Mickie was like really off put by that because she thought Ashley was like a third wheel because she was like all into Trish.
Super fan, right?
Right, exactly.
So Mickie runs in the ring and attacks Ashley.
Right.
And then Victoria pins Ashley after a widow's peak.
Yeah.
That was a great move.
Oh, that was a fantastic move. Yeah. That was really good. I thought for sure there was going to be a wardrobe malfunction there though. Because that widow's peak, like you're bent backwards like this and the camera angle, it's like those are coming out, but they didn't. So that was good. Or bad.
Next, Carlito.
He always talks so slow.
What was he talking about in this promo?
Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, but he said he was. Let's go to the footage of what.
It was probably the Elimination Chamber match.
No. He spat on somebody because he didn't think they were cool.
Oh,
I forgot what it was.
That? I should have made note of that.
Was it HP? No, I don't know who it was. Anyways, he was. Kane came out after that. And then Kane threw Carlito over the top rope.
This is all build up for the Royal Rumble.
To show that he can eliminate somebody in a Royal Rumble match.
This is back when Kane had lyrics to his theme.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Oh, I love that song too. It was so bad. Some of those songs were so bad, but I loved them.
Yeah.
This is the fire of the burn.
Next, Vince is backstage. Some stagehand or PA comes in and says there's a woman waiting outside his office.
Yeah.
And Vince says, "Give me a moment," and then let her in.
Yeah.
So we go to what would be a commercial break. Come
back.
back.
Honest, I kind of like this segment. I thought it was pretty funny.
Vince says, all right, come on in. So while he's waiting for this woman to come in, he starts getting dressed.
Of course, he turns his back to where she's supposed to be entering, and he starts getting it. He unbuttons his shirt.
He drops his pants.
And you can't help but look to see if anything's going on down there.
But his shirt's covering it up.
He probably has a thong. I'm imagining he has a thong on. And his shirt's all undone. And then he turns around, and who is it? It's Shelton Benjamin and his mama.
Yeah.
A big woman, and she is really into Vince, and Vince has shocked look on his face permanently, and she starts talking to him about how, if they want to get together, then she's more than willing. And Shelton Benjamin, but she wants her son to have a match. He wants some competition. Exactly, yeah. And so he arranges that.
Which was next.
Yeah, but that whole segment, I don't know, it made me laugh. Like Vince's face when because there's like, he's shocked and appalled, but also a little bit intrigued because Vince is a sexual man. So I don't know. I mean, it's so old school comedy, like, the bumbling fool and the hot, dolt. I mean, there's something to be said for that, but it is by and large off-putting.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is funny.
So anyways, that led to a match between Shelton Benjamin and
Will. And I was really anxious when I heard his music. I was like, ooh, which Big Show is this going to be? Hairless Big Show?
No, he had hair.
He had hair. So I guess, did he shave it before?
In 2004, and I guess he let it grow back.
And he let it grow back, and then he probably shaved it again.
Yeah.
It was Happy Big Show.
Yeah.
He was happy, and he was 1/2 of the tag champions.
Yeah. Was this during Jericho?
Was it Jericho? Was it Jericho? Maybe. Because Jericho was in the opening graphic. I don't think
but he wasn't on the show itself. Whoever was his tag team partner, Show was involved in the feud with Triple H.
Yeah.
Oh. Was it the tag belt or was it the European belt?
No, it wasn't. I think it was a tag belt because I remember thinking, who was he tag team champion with? Whoa!
What was the nature of his feud with Triple H then?
I think they mentioned it.
They did. I can't remember though.
But anyway, you looked that up. Shelton and Big Show went at it. Of course, it was sort of your typical athletic guy versus big giant man who nobody can stop. And so Shelton was doing all sorts of stuff. At one point, Triple H, like we said, he's feuding with Big Show. Sort of came in. He was wearing like normal clothes, like civilian clothes. I think he came out from like the crowd, something like that. And sort of got a punch in on Big Show, and then ran away. Big Show chased him, and so Shelton Benjamin got the count-out victory.
Yes.
So good job, Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, it must have been a tag title.
Well. Jericho. Well, there's a thing, Jericho versus DX. Maybe they were all feuding.
What year was that?
Jericho debuted. Oh, no, never mind, no.
Is that later?
It was later.
Oh, okay.
2009.
So I'm not sure what belt that was. I mean, he was in a tag team with Kane, but Kane didn't have a belt.
Big Show 2006. Maybe Kane just didn't like to cart his
that could be. He didn't want to be
title around.
Carrying that belt everywhere. Anyways, all right.
Yeah.
We found out the answer to that question. That leads us to our main event.
Yeah.
Ric Flair versus Edge in a TLC match for the WWE Championship.
Oh, that's right. Triple H and Big Show were feuding over like his hand, Big Show's hand.
Yeah, he busted up his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a European title for some reason. It wasn't. So yeah, bloody match as most Ric Flair matches are. I mean, he came into the match with a bandage on his forehead already from a previous injury.
Yeah.
And it
Big Show. It was Big Show and Kane.
It didn't take but 7 minutes before he got busted up, but not even that. 4 minutes.
That. I feel like it was during Edge's theme song.
Yeah. When Rick was taking off his robe.
On this day. Starts coming down.
Pretty early on, Edge sets up Rick on a table and is about to concerto him.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen because Flair grabs Edge in his front area.
He grabs his dingus.
Front area.
Yeah, but then it eventually just becomes tights. But like when he first goes in this,
yeah, he had a handful of front area.
It was like I wonder if that inspired Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan was like, you know what? I can turn that into something. I can suplex somebody with my dingus.
Could be. Edge hits Flair in the head with a chair, and that's when Flair was busted open.
Oh, yeah.
And he just bled all over the place. There's a shot of a table after there was a spot on it, and there was just this pools of somewhat coagulated blood.
Dude, so if you like...
It was a lot of blood.
If you... Is there something you can take to make you bleed even more profusely?
I mean, you can take blood thinners.
That's what I was thinking.
But that's not good to bleed when you're on blood thinners because you can't
stop it from bleeding. Yeah, no. It just keeps...
So you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but I wonder if he did that.
I think Flair just knows where to cut himself.
That could be.
Gotta be what it
was
is.
so... Dude, his entire head was red.
Mm-hmm. It was like Carino's at a Heat Wave.
Yeah, yeah.
The same thing, and I'm sure that's why Flair kept his hair blonde for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a spot where Edge climbs the top rope with Flair on the table.
To dyeing it black.
No, I don't think he's naturally a blonde. That's why I meant.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't know.
He's dyed it all these years?
I think so.
Oh, man.
I could be wrong.
Wow.
And if he is a blonde, I would be surprised if he's that shade of blonde.
Hold on a second. What is Ric Flair's natural
hair color?
Hair color.
I like these shows because we just Google half the time and learn new things.
I know, it's great. Natural hair color of wrestlers. I mean, I don't want to hear gray right now. Let's see here. I mean, look, this is him back in 1990.
Yeah, you could bleach your hair back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Training, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's the Iron Sheik. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a black and white picture.
But it's not platinum blonde.
Weird body. Who'd have thought this guy right here? He looks like a freaking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He looks like the Michelin Man.
So,
woo!
He might have been a darker blonde.
Sandy blonde.
Sandy blonde.
Sandy blonde. More dirty blonde.
More dirty. Yeah, that's where it is.
Dirty blonde.
But he definitely didn't have platinum blonde like he had throughout his career.
True. I don't know, man. I think I just dyed his hair endlessly.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot to keep up, man.
I mean, he didn't. His work schedule and period was insane.
Yeah.
All he'd do is go to the hairdresser once a month and get his hair touched up.
Yeah, right. Get my roots. Woo!
Anyways, Flair is set up on the table by Edge. Edge does a splash off the top rope, sending Flair through the table.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere.
Yeah.
At one point, Flair puts Edge between the two sides of the ladder, starts hitting him with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And then Edge takes an unprotected chair shot to the head.
Yeah.
Ow.
Ouch.
Ow. Edge superplexes Flair off a ladder. Edge climbs the ladder trying to get the belt. Flair tips it over.
And the crowd was so hot, man. The crowd was super hot.
Because the whole time the commentary team was like, oh, 17th reign for Flair.
Really pushing
yeah, they're really pushing the historical aspect of it. And you have Flair's kid ringside cheering him on.
Yep.
So yeah, Flair tips over the ladder and Edge goes through a table ringside.
Yeah.
Flair climbs the ladder. Lita pulls him off. Flair acts like he's going to hit her. Instead, puts her in the figure four.
Yeah.
Both Edge and Flair climb up the ladder and brawl up there. Edge knocks him off, gets the belt, wins. After the match, Edge spears Flair and sets him up for a concerto. Cena comes out to make the save. Do you know how long Edge had that belt after he won it?
Oh, the Intercontinental Championship?
No, Edge. WWE
title.
Edge?
Oh, I don't know.
He lost it at the Rumble to Cena.
Oh, okay.
So a couple weeks later, he lost it again.
All right. Well, he had that belt a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Many more times after that. And
that was surprising. It was surprising to me after, such a and maybe in hindsight, it seems like a much huger deal than it was at the time, the cashing in the Money in the Bank for the first time.
Yeah.
And he had the belt for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. On the other hand, John Cena.
Oh, I know.
Cena
wins lull.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm sure there's a story behind that. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. You have to think, though, like between the live sex show and how good Edge was, you have to think it wasn't any indictment onto him.
Oh, no.
That they took it off.
No, I think it was all about
him and Lita were so much money together.
I know.
They looked so good.
I'm sure that whole storyline was put in place to somewhat bring Edge up to the next level.
Yeah.
But more so to elevate Cena to the next level.
Yeah.
I mean, he was top guy by that point, so they were doing everything in service to push him further.
Yeah,
and it helped Edge to have that belt for a while. It solidified him as a main eventer.
You know what's funny too is that, so I meant to mention this at the top of the show. It's really obvious that, like, from listening to his podcast, just hearing anecdotally, like we've had some friendos meet Edge before. he seriously comes off like the nicest guy
I know.
ever. You know what I mean?
know.
And so to see him play such an effective heel, it's interesting.
I know.
Because so many times, like for example, AJ Styles, kind of difficult for him to pull off real heel. You know what I mean?
He did it. I think he did the best he could, and for the most part, he was effective. But it always seemed like he might have been a little bit self-conscious about it.
Yeah, I know exactly, because you can't. But Edge seemed to really revel in playing the bad guy, and usually with wrestling, it's more. Your personality turned up is usually what's most effective.
Yeah.
And like, for example, Kevin Owens. Something tells me Kevin Owens might be kind of a grumpy guy. If he's, he's away from his family. He's obviously a big family guy.
Yeah.
He's probably away from his family a lot. And it wouldn't surprise me if, if the Kevin Owens we see on TV is his bad side brought out for the cameras and turned up to like 12. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it's that much more of an extension of himself. Edge, that seemed like it's pretty far away from who he really is, but he was so into it, and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was like a real like with AJ, you always just got the feeling, come on, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a family guy. With Edge, it was always like, man, that guy's a jerk.
I know.
But now, thinking back on it, it's like, oh man, he just did a really good job playing a jerk. I don't know.
Of course, he was hitting people in the head with chairs. I mean, it's. When you could do that back then, it's easy to solidify yourself as a heel when you're...
Thing is, we also didn't know about concussions back then. We didn't know concussions existed back then.
Well, that's not true at all. Just didn't know as much. Anyways, let's talk about what we're going to offer up to vote this week.
All right, well...
So last week, as you know, we offered up 3 shows with Ric Flair. This week, it's Charlotte's turn.
All right.
So here's what we have as an opportunity, or there was possible... shows.
We put
the
these
patrons
3 shows up
could
for our
vote,
patrons.
Vote on our Patreon. They are the first NXT TakeOver.
Yeah.
There was NXT Arrival before this one. This is the first one branded as TakeOver.
Yeah.
Featuring a pretty significant, historically, match between Charlotte and Natalya. That's supposed to be very good. Also, NXT TakeOver Rival is the WWE 4 Horsewomen match. Charlotte versus Sasha versus Becky versus Bayley.
Yeah.
And then finally, Night of Champions 2015, Charlotte versus Nikki Bella. Charlotte's first Divas title win. Also on this card was Seth Rollins defending the U.S. title against John Cena and Seth Rollins defending the WWE title against Sting.
More importantly, we got a Ryback match.
Yeah, Kevin Owens versus Ryback.
Kevin Owens versus Ryback.
For the Intercontinental title.
Oh, that's going to be good. But we put all these up for our patrons to vote on, and you can, on our Patreon, patreon.com/Stephen Larson, you can vote on them next time we do another one.
Yes, and the winner is...
NXT TakeOver Rival. It feels weird not to say revival.
Yeah, it does.
Rival.
Good choice, too.
Yeah, good choice.
That's it.
That's it. Like we said, send in your hit us up on the Twitter with your Ric Flair or Charlotte Flair moments in art form.
Yes.
For a chance to win
one of 2 signed copies.
Not signed by us.
No, by Ric Flair and Charlotte.
Actually signed by Rick and Charlotte.
Of Second Nature.
Yeah. So very exciting.
Yes.
And until then, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.